patience, and I'm going to ask for it one more time because I just realized I did not double check to see if all the earbuds are connected, and they are not. Boom. Okay, now earbuds should be connected, so we got a little bit better quality microphone for when I'm all the way back there, and that means it's time to get started. Welcome back, everybody. My name is Ken, and we are doing 40 probably-ish minutes of live side splits stretching. We do this every day to practice consistency, to build a little community, and hopefully together we make it fun, make it easier to do hard stuff together, and make a bunch of progress towards our side splits. Okay, let's get into it. We're going to start with our warm-up exercises. They're designed to get us from cold and not really moving at all well to warmed up and ready to get some side splits done. I think Sheena is back. Welcome, Sheena. Welcome, welcome. And Ganasti is in the house. Okay, let's get into the first of our 3 warm-up exercises. It is called the hip car, and it looks like this. We're trying to bring our leg through its full range of motion at this hip joint, and we're going to go high knee, open, ankle, up. So it looks like this. You're going to work really hard right here in this hip muscle to lift that leg. Bring the leg down and back. Try to keep this knee behind the standing leg's knee. Flex the hamstrings, flex the glutes. Really pull that hip flexor in the front, back. You don't want to lean too far forward like this because you're not going to get much more of a stretch out of this muscle right here. And that's it. Ready? We got 1 demonstrated, but we're going to do 10. Cool? Let's go. High knee, open, ankle, down and back. High knee, open, ankle, down and back. High knee, open. Wow, I'm super off balance. The ankle, down and back. I think it's because I keep on looking to see if there's anything in the background, like an old sock or something that I want to remove. Okay, 5, 6, 7. If you are off balance, go ahead and grab something. I recommend it be at least hip height and reachable. It could just be a wall. And 10. Okay, that is hip cars on the left side. Let's do hip cars on the right side. I recommend you grab something that is going to help you balance because I want you to focus on lifting your knee as high as possible. I don't want you to focus on trying balanced. Don't do what I'm doing. I just happen to not have any. I mean, I technically have the side of this chair I can hold on to. I mean, open, ankle up, leg down and back. Flex the hamstrings, flex the glutes. High knee, open, ankle, down and back. 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 I think that's 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, now I'm off balance. 9 and 10. Oh, okay, hip cars. 10 on the left side, 10 on the right side. We are done with those. Sheena, Ganowski, let me know if they're feeling easier now that you've developed some sort of muscle memory around the movement. While I catch my breath. Okay, let's get into hip cars going in reverse. So it's the same exact set of movements, but when we do them in reverse for the first time, sometimes your brain just freaks out and it's like, wait, what? Why? What is this? To make that a little bit easier on you, I'm gonna go ahead and demonstrate. Bring the leg down and back, flex the hamstrings, flex the glutes, feel that stretch in the front of the hip flexor, lift that leg up like you're gonna go, pah! Give somebody a nice kick. But instead of going full sideways, I want you to try to keep your chest relatively up high. Contract these muscles here, track that oblique too. Get a little tiny oblique workout while you're here. Bring the ankle, bring the knee as high as you can. Rotate that leg so the knee is up, and then bring that knee all the way to the front. So, cool. That's one. Let's do 10 more. Oh, actually, I'm gonna check to see if Travel with Roxy says hello, hello, hello. Sheena says, yes, it's easier tonight. I've been warming up before the warm up. Oh, okay. Sheena is coming in with the extra preparation. I appreciate it. Okay. Let's go. We got 10. Back, side, ankle, knee. Back, side, ankle, knee. Back, side, ankle, knee. If you're just coming in, you have no idea what we're doing. We do 40-ish minutes of live side split stretching every single day to build consistency, build a little community in the chat, and hopefully that means it's easier to do hard things and get your side splits. If you don't really care about side splits, but you care about just general hip mobility and better movement, maybe you have tight hamstrings, then I'm happy to tell you we do a ton of movement stuff to prepare our body for the side splits. Because side splits don't just magically appear. They require all of these muscles in the hip and the legs to work together at pretty high levels to get you there. So, hope if that's interesting, you hit follow, you hit subscribe, you hit notify, keep coming back because we're going to be practicing consistency every day. Same time, 9 p.m. Eastern. Okay, let's do the last leg. Remember, we're going back, side, ankle, knee, back, side, ankle, knee. I'll turn around, back, side, ankle, knee, 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 back, side, ankle, knee. I completely forgot how many we've done. Let's just call this 8, 9, and last one, 10. Oh, okay, hip cars are done. I hope your hips are feeling a little better, a little smoother. Those muscles around your hips, you've really worked, activated, gotten them to feel stronger. I hope you've played around with the pose. I don't give you that much time, but I do talk a bit, right? To, if you're like, you just watched a martial arts movie, you're like, just play around. Take advantage of all the cool things your body can do. Have fun with it, and that makes it way easier for you to do other things randomly, just because you get the enjoyment of letting your body do things occasionally. Cool. I don't know if that sentence even made sense, but we're moving on into warm-up exercise number 2, and it's called the elephant walk. We're focusing on the hamstrings right now, and all I want you to do is try your best, keep that back pretty straight, fold and bring your belly button down as low to the ground as possible. If you can only get here, it's fine. If you're stuck a little bit higher up, also fine. We're just trying to make you a little bit better at this, and you are only competing against you. Cool? Hamstring stretch. As you feel it building, I want you to start bending one knee, keeping the other leg straight. Put your weight into the different hips. So you just move around, feel that hamstring, and keep on switching. Nice and slow. We're warming up together, so I don't expect anybody to come in with a lot of warm-up. That's just an expectation, Sheena. I appreciate that you come in with a lot of warm-up, so you can really nail these. But take your time. Be nice and gentle to yourself. Maybe you feel your calves getting real tight right now because your hamstrings are pulling on the whole entire lower body. And those are all good signs that your muscles are waking up, getting a little bit of love. Keep going. All right. As you get a little bit more comfortable, you can pick up the pace a little bit. And then I call it, I'm going to make up a term right now. I call it giving it a little bit of an accent, right? We're doing basically the same move, but I want you to have a little bit more of an emphasis on certain things. So we were just going from side to side, switching up our hips with how the knees are bent. From this angle, it's absolutely not at all visible which knee is bending, but I want you to focus on popping out the hip in the straight leg. You'll start feeling a little bit of a stretch around this side glute hip area, and you might get something that feels a little bit like a pigeon stretch that we're going to do later. So, long commentary short, pop that hip out. Pop, pop, pop. Pop this hip out, then bend this knee. And you'll put a lot of weight into the stretch so that you're feeling it here, you're feeling it here. Whew. Okay, that's the elephant walk. We're going to add a little bit more to it after you've experimented with those things. That is the thoracic rotation. I know my back feels really not great today because I haven't done anything. So we're going to add some thoracic rotation. It looks like this. We're going to bend the left leg, straighten the right leg, and take our left hand, grab the right leg, so opposite arm, opposite leg, help push against that leg to open up the chest. Take that arm, point it up into the sky, look at it behind you. Ooh, I'm definitely tight today. Okay. And then remember to try and bring your belly button down to the ground because we still want it to work the hamstrings. And come back down. Whew. All right, same thing on the other side. Right hand grabs left leg. The left leg is straight. Push, open, open up the chest, open up the arms. Bring the belly button down one more time. And feel the stretches. Feel the back twisting. Feel the pressure in the arms that's really trying to open up. And let's do a couple more of these. If you are not sweating yet, well, the whole rest of your body is starting to put in the work. It's not just your legs. So, should be feeling real good real soon. Okay, once you've done a couple of those, shake out your body, relax, loosen up. I'm going to come over to the chat because I think I saw a big chunk of text. And, whew, okay, so we just finished up the second warm-up exercise, the elephant walks. This time, I'm actually done. I'm just scrolling some lives to see if there are chats I need to address. And a whole bunch of people joining live. This is absolutely lovely. Thank you so much, everybody. Joshua Adam sends some prayer hands, or maybe it's a thank you hand. I'm really bad at interpreting these. Ravisa has sent a heart me. Thank you so much. Okay, looking for chat, looking for chat, looking for chat, looking for chat. Sheena says, double tap the screen when you get a chance and follow Ken live every night at 9 p.m. and 6 p.m. 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Cool. And thank you, Sheena. Irene says, good evening. Welcome back, Irene. I'm starting to like the elephant walk. Yes, Sheena. FM. Is that a B? FMB says, oh my god, I just had to follow you. Incredible. Yes. Good vibes. Good vibes. Okay. I'm glad, Sheena, that you're liking the elephant walk. And I think mostly because everybody needs something for the hamstrings. And the elephant walk is one of those things where you can be in the absolute worst mood. You can be in the sickest condition. You can just be like, oh, I don't want to. But then all you have to do is slowly bend one knee and shift your weight from side to side. And with a couple of seconds, or like 45 seconds a minute, your hamstrings start feeling better. And then once the little pieces start feeling better, they kind of add up, and then you start feeling better in general. So I like the elephant walk way more than like actually doing a hamstring stretch and then immediately having it suck and then being like, oh, okay, I'm gonna push really hard to try and get into a deeper stretch. As much as I've just complained about that, we are going to be doing hamstring stretches coming right up. There's two things from now. So let's fill in the thing that we got to do before. We're going to wrap up our warm-ups with our third and final warm-up exercise, and that is called the Cossack switch. I'm going to get rid of this chair so I have plenty of room. I'm going to double check to see where my legs stay visible on the screen, I have to be pretty far away so that, my legs can go all the way out there. And cool, okay. Let's see, Cossack switch. So Cossack switch looks a little bit like this. We're gonna open up our legs pretty wide. It's about 3-4 times our hips width. You don't have to be that accurate with it, but this is 1, that's about 2, that's about 3. It might have been a bit extra wide for the 3. But we're pointing our toes and knees out about 30, 45-ish degrees. Doesn't have to be super wide open, just out into the corners of the room. Now, from here, I want you to try to drop your knee, try to drop your hips down to the ground, but have your knees travel in the direction of your toes. Okay, so wherever your toes are pointing, that's the direction your knees are going. I don't want you to go, boom, have your knees collapse, to cave in. I don't want your knees to go out. I don't know very many people who are so strong out here and weak here that the knee will go that way, but that might be a problem that you have, and I'm just talking about it so you don't run into it and accidentally put way too much pressure on the outside of your knee. Okay. Once you've done that, I want you to come down as low as you can get comfortably. Try to do it without extra support for a second. You can put it on the ground, put your hands on the ground to give yourself a little reduction in weight, but I want you to feel the position as much as you can before you help yourself. From here, I want you to feel this, the pressure in the front of the ankle, the pressure in the hip, and the Achilles tendon stretching and the calf stretching. You can just hang out here for a little bit. This is still our warm up. We're just trying to get our bodies used to these positions so that when we start putting power through them, they actually work. And I'm going to fill that time while we wait for this hip to get used to this with a little bit of conversation about this leg over here. What we're doing, the heels are up, the toes are up, and the knees are up. This is called leg external rotation, and we need it for the side splits. We need them a lot for the side splits. Doing this makes it so one of the nubby bits of your leg bone doesn't smash into your hip bone. It would smash like this if I wasn't also bending forward and shifting my hips. So we don't need to talk about that now because we can go ahead and move to the other side. We spent a bunch of time in this position, but we'll talk about it once we're on this side. Let's go. Same thing. Feel the pressure in the front of this ankle. Feel the pressure in the hip. Try your best to keep the knees going in the same direction as the toes that are pointing, and put pressure into that whole entire leg. You can experiment by changing the angle that is pointing. If you point your knee and your toes directly in front, this is maybe a very deep squat from one side. That's perfectly fine. If you have different levels of flexibility, comfort in your knee and your hip, you can experiment with opening up a little bit more. You can literally turn this into a crazy sideways lunge. This will look a lot like a yoga position where your toes and knees are pointing almost directly out that way and still come down. That isn't really the Cossack switch, but it should be available range of motion for your knees and your toes to travel in. We have spent a lot of time breaking down this move. So let's go into the next phase where we actually move around in this position. I hope your hips are a little bit more warmed up. They're more used to the position because we're going to be moving around now. From here, I want you to give yourself a little bit of hand support. Come over to the other side. And ta-da! That's it. That's the whole movement. If you want, you can keep going like that. As long as you end up in this position where you're feeling the ankle, feeling the hip, feeling the stretch in the Achilles, we're good. As long as this leg is out, your heels are down, your toes are up, your knees are up, and you're feeling that stretch in the bottom of the leg, we're Gucci. Okay, come on over to the other side. Do the same thing. As you get more comfortable, as you get straighter up, experiment with your toes and knees and try to stand up a little straighter. If you're ready for something a bit more difficult, you can try to keep that chest up. You can stick your arms out for counterbalancing and try to keep switching from side to side like so. If it is hurting your knees a little bit, you can try to come up maybe halfway, a quarter of the way, come across first, and then slowly in a controlled way come down. That way, your knee is in a really heavy position down here, going from side to side, reduces the burden a little bit. You can also pop all the way up into a squat, and then come back down. Yeah, lots of options. I think in the process of demonstrating all these options, I have done way more Cossack switches than I need to. And I'm tired. I hope you've been doing your own Cossack switches, because that would be really good. That would be putting us in the right direction. Okay. That's it for our warm-up exercises. I hope your hips are feeling strong. I feel like, oh man, we spent quite a bit of time in the Cossack switches. I'm almost more tired now than I was before we started. All right, we're gonna move on into our stretches. I'm gonna come over to the camera, check the chat real quick. But the first stretch that we're gonna do is a hamstring stretch. I already warned you, you knew about this. For this hamstring stretch, we're gonna pop down onto one knee. We're gonna stretch the opposite leg like so. One of the reasons is it's easier to put your hands down if you need to give yourself a little support to make it easier. It's easier to balance when you have your hands available. So that's one of the ways we're doing the hamstring stretch. Go grab a cushion. You're gonna need it to pad the knee. It could be a sneaker that you don't care about. Just smash your knee into it. I'm gonna grab a couch cushion. I'll be right back. You can roll up a towel. You can steal your pet's bed, and whatever you choose. You got a couple of seconds to do that. Let's see. Oh, yeah, lots of comments coming in here on YouTube. Jose says greetings. Talk Game says, "Ooh, are we learning to stretch?" Yes, we are doing some stretching, and it is for everybody who's in here and has no idea what we're doing. We're doing 30, 40, 50 minutes of side split stretching because we're only 22 minutes in. We do this every single day to practice consistency, but the side split related stretches is really mobility stretches, mobility work for your hips and then your hamstrings. And eventually, with a good combination of everything, you get enough flexibility to start increasing that range of motion in your side splits. I do these lives every single day, and awesome. Thank you for following along. All right, I'm gonna try and hit comments real quick while I'm sweating so hard. Chris Private for real says, should our bent legs heel be against the ground? That's a great question. It's preferably yes. One of the benefits of having your bent legs heel on the ground in the Cossack switch is it's a little bit more stable, there's a little bit more balance. But you need to have a lot more ankle flexibility, more calf length to get your knee to also go forward. So there's a bit of a balancing. As we're learning the movement, as we're trying to figure it out, if you need to get a little bit off the ground, I don't know if this cushion is in the way, if you need to get a little bit off the ground to get into a stable position, that's totally fine. If you are like this, your heel is like 90 degrees off the ground, then definitely come back. But if you're just slightly off the ground and you're really working that calf stretch, that should be okay. Okay, let's see. Do we have anything left to address immediately? I think we're good. A whole bunch of people are coming in, following, sending gifts. Thank you so much, everybody. I wish I could say thank you individually, but I got to finish the show because there are other people here. Okay, hamstring stretch. The thing that we are doing right now is we're going to drop one knee down onto that pillow. We're going to try and focus on pointing our hips, our shoulders directly in front of us, and we're going to stick that leg, therefore, directly in front of us. Now, the focus is the belly button. We're trying to bring the belly button down to the thigh. And we're just going to go ahead and get started. Bring that belly button down to the thigh. Try to keep your lower back pretty straight. You're going to start feeling these hamstrings firing. They're not happy with you. And all I want you to do is take a nice big deep breath in. As we slowly exhale, I want you to see if you can relax, but also droop down into the leg. All right, exhale. Wow, I held the breath for so long on that one. Okay, one more time. Breathe in. Exhale and see if you can drop into it a little bit more. Your knees don't have to be perfectly straight. They can be slightly bent. As long as you're feeling the hamstring stretch, that's all that matters. Oh, okay. Now, once you are here, we got options. For 30 seconds, when we actually do the 30 seconds of stretching, you can, if your knees bent, you can focus on bringing your chest and your belly button to touch that knee, and then straighten out the knee to work on that hamstring stretch. This is really helpful if you have achy knees and you're feeling a little bit of pain and it's uncomfortable. Alternatively, if you want something that looks and feels more like a normal hamstring stretch, you can stick that leg out straight. You can keep on. Oh man, I did that too fast. You can bring the belly button down to as low as it can get, and then for the next 30 seconds, you can focus on contracting the abs, pulling on the hip flexor, trying your best to fold yourself over that leg. Cool? Let's go. 30 seconds. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14. Remember to breathe. Don't hold your breath. You can do the exact same, like super long breaths that we started with. In fact, I kind of recommend it. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, come on out of that stretch. If you worked really hard, your abs might feel tense because part of trying to bring your chest, your belly button down to that leg is contracting these muscles to help pull you down, right? But hopefully you're not cramping up. Hopefully your hamstring, now that you stand up, you moved for a second, has relaxed a little bit, and we can move on into the other leg. What did we just stretch? It was the right leg was getting stretched, so we're stretching the left leg. Okay. Oh, same thing. Let's get over to the other side and let's get ready to fold. Bring the belly button down. Imagine trying to touch the belly button to your thigh, or maybe even bring it down to the floor. Your hamstrings are going to tighten up real fast. I just found a huge dust bunny. I'm going to just scoot that over there. Oh, where'd you come from? Did I not just sweep yesterday? Same thing. Take some nice big deep breaths. Inhale, exhale. See if you can relax into that leg. Inhale, exhale. If your knees a little bit bent, that's totally okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. As long as you are feeling an intense hamstring stretch, you're doing the right thing. All right. From here, let's go. 30 seconds. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20. Remember to breathe. Don't hold your breath. 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, come on up out of that hamstring stretch. We are done with the cushion, so you can get rid of it. Try not to throw it too aggressively. I've made that mistake a couple of times this week. And I'm gonna come back, check the chat real quick. All right. Cog Game says they will be back tomorrow. Let's see. FMB says definitely a game changer. I don't know exactly what thing you're talking about, but let me know, and I will celebrate the game changer with you. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is the butterfly. I think this is the stretch that if you do a little bit differently, you see the greatest results like instantaneously. And this is one of those things where like, the rest of the internet will be like, oh, this is the one trick that will whatever, 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 whatever. I think of all the stretches that we do, this thing is the easiest thing to do to open up your actual groin. So in the butterfly, we bring the feet together, we pull it towards our hips, your knees pop up like this, and the goal is to open up the groin muscles, right? And you have to work pretty hard to get your knees down into the ground. And then once you have your knees there, from the side, for most people, you're gonna have a little bit of difficulty trying to hold this position because maybe your hamstrings are tight. Maybe like when you sit on the floor normally, your back wants to do this, you want to fall backwards. All those are really good reasons for why your butterfly could be made a bit better. And the trick, the one tiny thing that will make it much better is a wall. It doesn't even have to be a good wall. It just has to be stable enough and durable enough that you can lean your back against it and it can hold your weight. So it could really be a bookcase. It could be a dresser. As long as it's stable, you are good to go. Or a door. The door will work. It's just I don't want to rattle it and make noises in the hallway. Okay. Once you have your hips, your shoulder, your head against the wall, pull your feet back in. See if suddenly you feel like your hips are way farther open than right there. I don't know if you actually follow along that thing on the floor over there, but do your hips feel like they're wider open? If they do, amazing. You already feel the magic. But the most important stuff actually comes from the work that you're about to put in. Once you are here, it's easy to push against the wall to help give yourself a little bit of support. And with that support, we're going to put a whole bunch of power into our legs and hopefully open up real wide and get into a deeper stretch. First thing I want you to do is use your muscles to do the work. All right. What that means is I want this outer thigh muscle, those glutes, to start flexing, to pull your knees down into the ground. The goal is to bring the knees to the ground, really open up the center area. So start flexing those muscles, contract the glutes, sides of your legs, and once you have contracted those muscles, you can't open any further. Take your hands, push down. If you are leaning against this wall properly, the back of your head, the tops of your shoulders are now pushing really hard into the wall. Maybe the back of your head is a little bit uncomfortable. You can change the angle of that to see if you can find a more comfortable position. And apply pressure to your legs. If your hips are opening up, then you're doing it right. If the back of your head and your shoulders are feeling pressure because it's pushing into the wall, you're also doing it right. All right, that's it. Flex those muscles, open up the hips, push down 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22. Remember to breathe. 21, 20. Double check you're still flexing those muscles, those glutes, those outer thighs. 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, let go. Let go of everything. Get your hands off. Open up those hips. And by open up, I mean move the legs. They start working again. I find when you're contracting the glutes and contracting the other outer thighs and you hold it for 30 seconds, the other muscles fall asleep or something. I don't know what's going on, but they do not want to come back in. So give yourself a little tap, a little move. Suddenly the rest of the muscles in your hips will wake up and then you can start walking again. Okay. Once you are back up, we're going to move right into the standing pancake. On TikTok, Ravisa says, I appreciate you doing this. Thank you. Lovely, 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 lovely. I didn't feel like you said, what did I do? Dana asked, I didn't feel my abs when you did this. I think the only time we talked about the abs was when we were doing the hamstring stretch, like so. All right, if you work really hard to try to bring your upper body down into the hamstring stretch, you can contract your abs sort of to pull your chest down even deeper. If my abs are just relaxed and neutral and my back is straight, this is pretty much where I'd be. But if you contract your abs, you can sort of fold a little bit more. It doesn't actually make the stretch more intense, but or it doesn't. It does make the stretch a little bit more intense, but it doesn't really focus all of the attention at the hip where the stretch should be coming from. And one of the goals when we're doing this 30 seconds of holding the hamstring stretch is really trying to bring the belly button to the thigh. So I unconsciously start contracting the abs. And when we hold it for 30 seconds, and I'm trying really hard to get deeper, sometimes I really feel the abs. Cool? Okay, we just did the butterfly. So let's move on into the standing pancake. Excuse me, I'm a little nasally, I'm a little sick. I can breathe through my nostrils now. Okay, cool. We're gonna do a standing pancake, and it looks a little bit like this. We're gonna open up our legs nice and wide. It doesn't have to be crazy wide, just to the end of wherever you're comfortable. If you're already uncomfortable here in the hip joint, then you can come back in just a little bit until it's a little bit more comfortable. All right, we're gonna fold forward. You can put your hands down. From the side, this is gonna look like just a typical like toe touch, except your legs are wide open. Cool? From here, if you're slipping around, take off those socks. If you are super slipping around, despite that, maybe try putting your foot against a wall so that you can only slip to one side. It's a little bit easier to control that way. From here, I recommend you stick your butt back a little bit. So your heels are here, and your butt is a little bit further back. If you imagine sticking your butt even further back, then it'll help you counterbalance when you put your arms up overhead. And then when you do that, you're really feeling the pressure. Gravity is pulling you down really hard to get you into a deeper pancake position. Thank you, gravity. Okay, if this is too intense at any point, you can always put your hands down. You can always bring your hands in, and that's it. That's what we're doing, standing pancake. Let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24. Focus on bringing your belly button to the ground. 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17. You should feel pressure building in the hips here. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, lean forward. Come on, out of that stretch. It's not very long, but it should have been pretty intense. While you shake and relax for a second, let's talk about what muscles are working really hard. You got the adductors, which their job is to bring your legs to the center of your body. Their job is to pull you in. So anytime you do the opposite, you spread the legs using the abductors, which are out here, the abductors. Their job is to go bring you up. For some reason, it is incredibly easy to keep pretty darn neutral, and the abductors don't get in your way. However, it's usually pretty easy for your adductors, the ADDUCTORS, to let your legs be straight and normal, let you go about regular life. But as soon as you start lifting them up, these muscles start freaking out and making you really unhappy because they're unhappy. A lot of stretching is about trying to relax into a position. It's getting your brain to recognize that that position is safe and friendly and cool with you. And these are one of the big muscles that are going to keep you from getting to middle splits. So now you know what they are. The adductors, which is spelled ADD ductors. The abductors. The other muscles that extend, they pull the leg out. are basically here and here. They're spelled ABD ductors. So ADD and ABD. I'm saying all this so that if you are interested, you can Google a little bit more. And it sounds really confusing. The spelling is really similar, and it's a huge pain in the butt. I don't know why they decided to name these things so incredibly close to each other, so that even when you say it out loud, especially when I'm sick, it sounds like the same word. What the heck is he talking about? Abductors with a B do this. Adductors with a D do this. Cool? All right. Even B and D sound so similar. Okay, we're moving on. The next thing that we are really, really stretching when we do the pancake stretch is the hamstrings, right? We know that, and that's why we do the elephant walk and the hamstring stretch to prepare for this. But it doesn't matter if your legs are together, like in a normal looking hamstring stretch, trying to touch your toes, or if your legs are apart. As long as your hips are folding like this, your hamstrings are going to get pounded. And that's why it's a really hard stretch, because the adductors and your hamstrings are really big muscle groups and they are very strong. So this is where we are. Okay, that is the standing pancake. Thank Blunder 30,000. They wrote, always look forward to your life. Glad I could see you. I love it. That's so nice. Okay, on YouTube, Tejas Brahman says hi. Hello. All right, we just did three of our stretches. It's time to go into number 4. Number 4 is easy to remember, and I'm glad it's so easy to remember because I always have a brain fart right before. I'm like, what's next? Luckily, it's easy to remember because it is the figure 4. We're bringing an ankle across the body, and it makes this thing that looks vaguely like the number 4. The figure 4 stretch has 2 main ways of getting into it. The goal is to do this, is to bring the leg up towards the chest to get this set of muscles in the hip working. And by working, I mean they're stretching. They're not actually working, but they're going long. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. Just ignore all of that. We have the pigeon and we have the figure 4. The pigeon looks like this. You use gravity to do a lot of the work. You bring the leg across the chest or across the body. You bring your chest sort of to the midpoint between the knee and the ankle. If you have really long legs, that might not make sense, but you want to aim that way, towards the heel a little bit. Okay, and that's it. You bring the chest down, you fold forward. You want your hips to stay low, and you want to bring your chest low. Keep in mind that if you keep it really straight back, your chest might actually be really high, but it can be really comfortable if you just relax and tuck your head and hang out like this. Some details. A lot of people might have some flexibility issues where they can't fully extend the leg back, like frequently shown in YouTube videos about yoga positions. That's absolutely okay for our purposes. You can bend the knee and just let it chill a little bit. As long as you bring your chest towards that sort of midpoint between your knee and ankle, that's plenty of stretch. That's the main thing that we care about for this muscle group right here. Cool? All right, figure 4 is a little bit easier to get into, and I like it more, but you have to work a little bit harder because you have to use your own muscles to pull yourself into the position versus letting gravity just pull you down. Cool? Let's get into it. I'm going to give you this angle so it looks like you're doing it alongside me. We are lifting that leg that we want to stretch, crossing it over so it's just below or above the knee, depending on like how technically you want to be about where this ankle is located. We're going to reach our hands through the triangle made by our legs and around. We're just going to pull the leg in. And once again, the goal is to stretch out these muscles out here on the hip and that glute a little bit. And that's it. I hope you have picked one that you like. Hope you learned something about the stretches, and we're going for 30 seconds. Let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25. Remember to breathe. Don't hold your breath. 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17. If you're doing a pigeon and suddenly it feels really chill, really easy, push that ankle away from you. 15, 14, 13, 12. If you're doing the figure 4 stretch and you're laying down and suddenly you're feeling really tired, my voice is way too calming, then wake up. Pull on your leg. Intensify that stretch. Your butt should be tingly. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. Oh, relax that hip for a second. Spin around. Get into position. Crawl, crawl, crawl. Oh man, I can't imagine how foolish that looked on camera, but that's okay. I'm laying down. I'm not looking at it. I don't need to know. Let's continue. We're going to go ahead and do the other side, figure 4, or pigeon on the other side. Once again, for the figure 4, you're crossing that ankle over to the hip, reaching through, pulling that leg in, and let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21. Apply steady pressure. See if you can get into a deeper position by the end of the stretch. 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, let it all go. Relax for a second. We're about to start the side splits. I need to get up so I can talk about the side splits. Oh, okay, I'm up. Okay. Whew. We just did a whole bunch of warm-up exercises, a whole bunch of stretches, and all of them are targeted at the hips, making ourselves a little bit more mobile so that when we do the side splits, you've already pre-stretched into an even more sort of deep motion, deeper range of motion than you probably would need for the side splits. So you can focus on the really hard stuff in the side splits. That kind of makes sense. Everything prior was to prepare ourselves for the side splits and make sure that when we do them, we get the most out of them. And also, you need to warm up because who knows what you have just come from for the rest of your day. Let's talk safety. If you are in a deep-ish side split position, you start falling forward. Easy enough to catch yourself with your hands. If you are struggling with that, feel free to grab a chair, place it right in front of you so that you can give yourself something to hold on to. If you have a coffee table, if you have something close by that you can easily grab to give yourself a little bit of support, go ahead and use that. I recommend, if you are concerned about falling backwards, you get really close to a wall, preferably the wall that we just used to do the butterfly. If you stand exactly one step away from the wall, for most people, that's between 8 to 12 inches from the wall. And that means when you're in this position, you start falling backwards. Boom, look, the wall is here. Saved me. All I had to do was touch my butt to it. Sweet. But if you're in a much deeper position and you start falling backwards and somehow you're not doing that, and your shoulder smashes into, I was really smart. I didn't smash my shoulder into this doorknob today. If your shoulder smashes into the wall, then you can always go, oh, okay, fine, and then put your hips right back onto that wall. Anyways, my point is, it's much easier to stay safe and keep you from falling backwards and getting all scared and all nervous if you stay really close to a wall. So do that. 8 to 12 inches, 20 to 30 centimeters, and I think with that, we are ready to get into some side splits. Okay, let's slowly, gently open up those legs, nice and wide. When you start feeling discomfort in the hips, fold forward, put your hands down, and I want your hands in a position where you can kind of bend them and sort of do a push-up. We're not actually doing push-ups, but we want to be in a strong position so that we can shift some of our body weight into the hands, and that means there's less weight in the legs. When there's less weight in the legs, I have to screw all the way back to demonstrate this, I think. We can externally rotate the legs. What that means is your heels are down, your toes are up, and your knees are pointing up, okay? And we want to do that on both sides. When you do that, part of the tops of your leg bones rotate out of the way of some of that hip complexity bone structure, and you should be able to get into a deeper side split stretch. So from here, just chill for a second. Do a very gentle lean from side to side. See if your legs will open up a little further. Next, shift your hands back towards your hips, and you can stop at any point. If anything gets too intense, you can just pause there. But if you're ready for more, bring your hands back towards your hips. That'll shift more of your body weight right over into your legs. And I want you to do a little wiggle from side to side, a little bit more energy than that first wiggle. And see if you can get deeper into the side split. Once you cannot move, you're like, Ken, why are you not counting it? It's time to count. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24. Remember to breathe. Don't hold your breath. It might be painful. You might want to hold your breath, but don't. 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, almost done, 1, 0. All right, walk your hands forward, pull your legs in underneath you, kneel down, sigh, be so happy that we're out of that position, and slowly come back up into standing. We're going to shake it out. What we just did was basically contract all the muscles in our legs and our hips, and we need to undo all of that tension. So I recommend you start shaking. It's also been called the flopping, the wiggling, the noodle. What we want is for your leg muscles to relax so that it can flop around. The more floppy you are, the more relaxed your muscles are. And the more relaxed your muscles are, the easier it will be to get into a better side split next round. I forgot to tell you, if you're new to the show and you thought the pattern was we're doing just 30 seconds of every stretch, for the side split, we do three sets of 30 seconds. So we're just beginning. And if you really gave it your all for that first one, and now you're like, oh, we have 2 more, then you did a great job on the first one. And you have the opportunity to do another great job and an even better job after that. So keep it up. You got this. Okay, once you've shaken out your legs, shaken out your arms a little bit, wiggled, noodled around, help those muscles to relax, do a little dance. Just make sure you're relatively loose and your joints are working. We're going to do a couple of quick tests to make sure your joints are working. And it looks a little bit like this. We're going to do some hip circles. We're going to do some high knees. We're going to do some mini squats. Doesn't have to go that deep. We just want to put a little bit of pressure into the knee, a little bit of pressure into that ankle, just to make sure those joints are working. And then finally, if you can, if you got the balance for it, come up onto your feet, onto your toesies. Make sure all that lower body stuff is coordinated enough that you'll be able to go through your regular life, no problem. Okay. Still feeling a little bit tired. So let's add 5-10 more seconds of shaking. One of the things I want you to keep in mind in between rounds of stretches is your body needs rest. And when you are relaxed, you can contract better. It's the craziest thing. But if you contract really hard and your biceps are all cramped up and tense, and then you try to go do more bicep curls, it's going to be really hard to do that other rep, right? Once you've given a rest to chill out and you come back to it, you can start resuming. Same principle applies to stretching when we start doing multiple rounds. So once your legs are shaken out, take a nice big deep breath. We're going into round 2 of side splits. Once again, get close to that wall so that if you fall backwards, you start falling backwards, you start feeling unsafe, you feel a little bit more confident because you got the wall keeping you safe. All right, open up those legs nice and wide. You might notice that you can already go much deeper than before. Fold forward, put your hands down, pretend to do that mini push-up, help your legs do that external rotation. Ooh, I am so sorry, give me a second, everybody. TikTok has given me confirm you're not a robot animation that I have to fill out. Boom. Okay. Let's continue. Once you are in this position, your hands are down, your legs are externally rotated, toes up, knees up, heels down. Walk your hands back towards your hips, and we are in position. Do a little bit of a wiggle from side to side. See if you can get just a little bit more. Break that last little bit of friction holding your legs back. You can hear probably the tiny little bup, 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 bup sounds coming from my microphone. That's my feet making these tiny, 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 like millimeter adjustments. Okay, let's go. That's it. 30 seconds. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25. Did you notice? Are you much deeper than before? Because I'm much deeper than before. 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16. Throughout this whole 30-second stretch, you can still keep trying to get deeper. 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, go for it. Bring your legs in. Relax. Oh. Kneel if you need to. Make excessive amounts of grunting noises if you want. And once you are back up into standing, flop, 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 shake, 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 wiggle, 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 and noodle, pasta, spaghetti, whatever you want to call it, shake out those legs and the arms. The arms will actually look a lot better and more floppy because, I don't know, I think most people have more control over their specific arm muscles than their specific leg muscles. But have fun with it. Relax those leg muscles. Give yourself a couple more seconds. Shake, 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 shake. The more side split stretches you do, the more rest you're going to need in between, typically. But for optimizing of your life and your time, a minute is fine. 2 minutes is great. All right. Once you have had the legs relax a little bit, let's do a quick check. Hip circles. Oh, I always have a lot of tension right here on the outside of the hip, sort of like at that hip bone, but right underneath it. And so I like to just do a little dance in between these two positions to stretch these out. I feel them when I do the hip circles, so I confirm that they exist, and then I just focus on them. Once you've addressed anything there, let's do a couple of quick high knees. Those feel good. We can move on. Do some mini squats, put some pressure into the knee, put some pressure into the heel, stretch out that ankle a little bit, and if you can, if you have the balance for it, come up onto your knees, do some calf raises. Once everything down here is working fine, then we're going to relax some more by shake, 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 wiggle, 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 and I'm going to check the chat. Oh, let's see. Can an AI instruct a robot? What? I know that there's like some AI summary thing going on, and I don't really know what it does, but they just like throw random buzzwords into the chat. Uh, so that's funny. Okay. Whew. Last round. Let's do this. Actually, keep shaking because I gotta do my customary announcements. If you've been having fun, if you learned a little bit, if you've been practicing stuff that you never normally would be practicing, I hope you hit follow. I hope you hit subscribe. I hope you get notified because we do this every day to practice consistency, right? With the consistency, my goal is to build a little bit of community of other people who are interested in doing some of the hard work, but who want to make their lives a little bit easier. The show makes it a little bit more fun, makes it a little bit more follow along. If you're entertained, you're having fun, you're talking to other people in the chat, then it makes it much easier to do hard things like suffering on the floor in side splits, right? So come on in, hit follow, hit subscribe, engage in the chat, get to know each other, and I hope to see you tomorrow. All right, let's do it. Let's do this. Hips close to the wall, 8 to 12 inches, or one step in front. Make sure you're feeling safe, feeling comfortable. Open up those legs nice and wide. Drop into that split position. Man, I'm feeling so strong right now. Do you see how graceful that was, me coming down? Open up those legs, externally rotate, put your hands down. If you have been doing a couple of these, you know that I break down the steps so that a brand new person can come in and figure out the form, but you don't have to do it this exact way because I pretty much just completely forgot that I do it that exact way because I was so engrossed in just, oh, look, my legs are sliding open. This is awesome. As long as you end up in a position where your heels are down, your toes are up, your knees are up, and you are putting a lot of body weight into the legs, you're feeling that stretch, you're good. That's it. That's where we want to be. As long as you are doing about the same as that previous stretch or better, then you're golden. Cool? All right. From here, I want you to try something a little bit different that we haven't talked about too much. I want you to imagine contracting your glutes and sort of pushing your hips forward. It might be pushing your hips towards the ground, maybe at an angle. So like the direction might be like 3 feet in front of you towards the ground. It might be if you're leaned really far forward already like this, you're just pointing your hips directly into the ground and trying to push them into the ground there. But try your best to flex your glutes a little bit. Doesn't have to be for the whole time, just a couple of seconds at a time, and see if you feel like your hips are shifting forward and you're decreasing the angle of that side split. Okay, we've hung out here in this position for way too long. Let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, remember to breathe, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, come on up out of that stretch. Ooh, we definitely spent a lot of time in that stretch. I cannot get out. Okay, come back into standing. Kneel if you must. Walk your hands forward to tuck your legs underneath you. And once you are ready to flop, start flopping. Flop, flop a lot. Wiggle, shake. Okay. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Noodle, flop, shake. Shake it all out. This is the last run. We're already done with the actual stretch, but I want to make sure your bodies are ready for whatever the rest of the day has for you. So make sure those muscles are relaxed. They're not just randomly going to cramp up out of the blue and mess up whatever you're doing after this. And wiggle, dance, bring your knees in and out, do. And let's do our quick checks. Hip circles. High knees. You don't have to do that many of these. These are just to check that your joints are good. Frequently, I'll have something in this left ankle that will just click into position. That sounds really scary, but sometimes when my feet are over there and all bent at an angle, it just doesn't line up super well for some reason. And then I have to do a mini squat, and then I'll be like, oh, look, my ankle is uncomfortable. And then I'll do 2 more, and then it'll just, whatever muscle, whatever thing is going on in there, will just start firing at the right angle, and all of a sudden the pain's gone. So make sure you take the 10 seconds to do those little tests, to make those adjustments, so that you don't randomly have ankle pain that doesn't need to exist. Cool, cool? Cool, cool. All right, we have still 11 people on TikTok and 5 on YouTube. Hello, YouTubers. AK71245 says calisthenics. Not really. Queen R has answered. I do calisthenics, but I don't do that as part of the live. The live is about side splits. It's about hip mobility. It's about stretching. It's about practicing consistency and making hard things a little bit easier. So that sounds interesting. We just wrapped up for today. We've been going for like 65 minutes already. We do this every single day at this time, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And the goal is to practice consistency, to create a cool space for people to come, hang out, do some stretching, making the painful side split stuff in the end a little bit more fun and a little less pure suffering. So if that's interesting, hit follow, hit subscribe, come back tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to scroll real quick on TikTok to see if there are any things I need to immediately address because I have not been back here for a little bit and I haven't scrolled really far in a little bit. Oh, okay, cool. I got back to Blandre saying, always love. Oh, sorry, always look forward to your life. Glad I caught you. Yes, I like compliments. All right, continuing. Continuing. Ooh, you can send cute things like corgis on this app. This is crazy. Ravisa Max sent a corgi. That's cute. Got roses. It is lovely. Thank you so much. Um, and okay, I'm seeing where the robot thing started now. Uh, there is AI like mini summaries of like text, I guess, because they must know everything I say and pump it into an AI robot. So that's cool. It helps people coming in cold get an idea of what we do on the chat, and it helps people. You don't have to send me more corgis. I appreciate it. I just didn't notice because I was way far back there, but I appreciate another one, and it was cute. That butt was adorable. um, yeah, and Ravisa was summarizing why it was a joke. Cool, 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 cool. All right, I think I've made it basically all the way back down. Goddess, oh hey, it's good to see you. Welcome back. Ravisa Max says is so important, especially as we age. Absolutely. Especially when you have more and more distractions, more burdens in your life, it's important to spend a little bit of time taking care of the important things like your health or making sure you move well. Travel Doxy says thank you. Ravisa says thank you. Ganowski says thank you. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Thank you for taking part in the live. Thank you for participating in the chat. Thank you for engaging with each other. And I hope to see you again real soon. All right, we got one more comment that came in on the YouTube live. How can I progress towards a full split? And then they say, please read the YouTube chat. Lovely. The full split depends on what you are talking about. Are you talking about a front split? Are you talking about a side split? It doesn't really change that much, honestly. The majority of it is spending a bunch of time in those positions, trying to work on those positions, trying to strengthen and also relax the muscles for that are involved in that stretch, whichever one that it is, whether it's the adductors and the hamstrings for your side splits or your pancake or something in the middle between those two, or for the front split, it's your hip flexors, your hamstrings going forward and back. I don't know that much about Taekwondo, but if you are doing Taekwondo, I would imagine your coaches, your instructors would have really solid advice for that because they've trained a whole bunch of people who presumably get much better at that type of movement. So I would suggest you go ask them to understand. They don't, okay? They don't understand the That's interesting. Okay, because a lot of performance taekwondo, for example, is about kicking very high and having a lot of control in the hips. So I would imagine that you would be training for high kicks. And that kind of explosive training requires the muscles that need to be relaxed, and the muscles that need to be contracted to contract really hard, really fast, because you're trying to put a lot of whipping power into a kick. Um, Okay, cool. All right, full splits, side splits. It really depends on how painful you want this to be. The most important thing is to go strengthen the muscles that are weak. So in this case, if we were doing the side splits, for example, doing something like this, the most important thing is actually to strengthen these muscles, which means you want to work on these muscles so that they can pull you back into the position that you're not trying to be in this case, standing, right? I can only do that from a very limited range of motion, but uh, what we're doing is we're making sure these muscles are strong, and it might be a little bit counterintuitive. You might think that if these are too strong, don't you have to work so much harder to get them to relax and like get into a deep stretch? Yes and no. So relaxation is something your brain controls. The strength of your muscle, hypothetically, it does not change whether or not your muscle can relax or lengthen. Cool? And one of the psychological brain things that your brain does to keep you safe is if you don't prove to it that you can get into a position, you can get into it safely, you can get out of it safely often, then it's not going to let you go do that thing because it thinks it's dangerous. If you're going to just randomly, explosively do a front split, most people would probably hurt themselves, right? And that's what your body is preventing you from doing. It's preventing you from making stupid decisions because you're like 12 and think you're invincible. Except when you're 12 and invincible, you're also a lot more elastic than when you're not 12 and invincible. Uh, Anyways, the point is you want to strengthen all of the muscles that uh, might be weak in this movement. In this case, the adductors are really important. The other thing might be because when I'm standing and my feet are planted like this, I have to, from the side, some of you might not know this, I have to bend my back and have the C curve. From the front, it might look like I'm just in a regular split, but from the side, you'll notice that my hips are way out here and I am bending my back to keep my chest up, right? You need to do this because it is just us flopping around the leg external rotation. When we do the stretch together during the live, what we do is get into this position and point our toes up, our knees up, right? But what I just demonstrated was our feet are down. So when our knees and our toes are up, it's way more okay for your back to be straight, for you to get into this position relatively comfortably, right? But if we were to flip everything 90 degrees so that our toes up would be pointing toes this way, then my body would be like this. All right. So in order for me to look at the camera, I have to get into that same position as toes up and arc my back so I can look up and see you guys. If you've ever wondered why I do toes up and maybe somebody else you've seen doesn't do toes up, that's why. It's the same move and we address it from slightly different angles. Part of the reason we address it from slightly different angles, and one of the reasons that I don't explain very well during the live, where I shift my weight back and forward, and sometimes it looks like I'm really far off the ground, and sometimes it looks like I'm really close to the ground, is because the pressure in that stretch as you shift from forward to back is slightly different. And I'll show you that same exact thing from the side. So if I am legs straight up and down in the side split, then the space from my hips to the floor is going to be really high. But if I shift my weight back like this, my butt is much lower to the ground, right? Even though my stretch, the amount of stretch in between my legs hasn't really changed, the front angle, you guys in the camera, doesn't look like I'm much closer to the ground than I am. So there's like some deceptive magic happening because it's hard for you from this camera angle to see how wide open my legs are. And I just went on a really big, oh wow, I just lost my voice. What the heck? Hold on. Hold on. Am I back? Okay, cool. Somewhere in the middle. Cool. All right. Went on a super big long tangent. I hope you learned something about hip positioning, and okay, agonizing truth. Okay, that's that's mostly it. I think it's actually fairly simple. It just requires a lot of time and suffering for the most part. And there's ways to do it a little bit faster. One of the fastest methods is extra painful because you're just forcing your body to not do what it wants to do, right? It wants to keep you safe. You're forcing it to not do that thing. It's called PNF. It's short for proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. Really hard to spell. So P as in pineapple, N as in Nancy, and F as in forever. Pineapple Nancy forever. How did I come up with that? Anyways, PNF. You can Google it. The simplest form is called the contract relax. And basically, you contract the muscles that you're stretching to trick the brain into thinking, oh, we don't have to contract so hard because they're already contracting. Let's relax our built in body response a little bit. And when your body does that, you can steal a little bit of range from that stretch. That will help build strength in that end range position, and it will trick your brain a little bit, and it will be a little bit painful. So that is probably the most effective way of getting into the side splits. Cool. Thank you for the compliment. All right, I'm gonna hop back into TikTok. Lulu says, "Hi, I'm late today, but I'll see you tomorrow. I'm sorry you missed it, but luckily I'm here every day." Okay, I think that is everything. Oh, we've been running for 76 odd minutes, and I am ready to call it. Actually, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna do like another 10 minutes of side split stretching. Because another thing, I'm not sure you know, but if you follow on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, I've been posting these very not shared videos with like no views about this next month. I have pretty much plateaued in the side splits progress for a while, and that is because most of the side splits training that I do is the live. Pretty much all of it is the live. So I spend a whole bunch of time preparing all the other muscles, right? All of the warm up, all of the stretches for the hamstring, for the pancake, for whatever. I literally do 30 seconds of pancake stretching a day. That's it. We do this big long show and we talk about all these other exercises, but at the end of the day, I spend 90 seconds in the side split, plus or minus a little bit because I ramble about the side split. And so my progress has stalled a little bit. And I think part of the reason is because I'm at the more end range of the motion and it requires a lot more effort to make progress once you're there. So I'm taking the next 30 days to really try to uh, get the side split. And that means I'm going to be spending more time in the side split. And I'll be experimenting with trying to use weights, to start using more PNF techniques, for example, or more intense versions of PNF techniques. Contract relax is the simple one to remember. There are more intense ones where you, instead of just contracting the muscle that you're stretching, you contract the muscle you're stretching, you relax it, get into a deeper stretch, and at the same time you're getting into a deeper stretch, you start contracting the opposite muscles. So in the case of our side splits, if you are contracting your inner thighs, the adductor muscles, ADDUCTOR, and you relax them, you get a chance to trick the brain a little bit, get into a deeper stretch, and then you contract the glutes and the outer thigh muscles to help use them to pull your hips further open. These are the same muscles that we're using in the butterfly to actively pull the knees down into the ground, right? So I'm giving you all the tools. We're practicing the tools without telling you how we'll use them in the future or how you'll be able to use them in the future. But basically doing that, suffering over there for another 10 minutes of stretching. The 10 minutes of stretching is actually way more than 10 minutes. I hang out in the stretch for 10 minutes and then I relax and chill and take a break for however long I need to in between each of the rounds. And it's closer to like another half hour. So I'm going to go do that and I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming in, practicing consistency, listening to me ramble about stretching and answering questions. I hope you had fun. I hope you got a good stretch in today. I hope you learned something. I hope you come back tomorrow because I'll be here. All right, I'll see you tomorrow and goodbye. Closing the live. Here on YouTube, NCRJY, if you're still on, thank you for the great questions, and I hope to see you soon. Let's see, Sumit Chauhan says, hello, brothers. Hello, hello. We just wrapped up an 80-minute live, so I'm heading out. But if you're just joining and you have no idea what we do a really long time of side split stretching and workouts. If that sounds interesting, because we work on mobility, we work on movement, we work on making the hips move a little bit better so that we can eventually get into the side splits, then please come back. We do this every single day at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. I don't know what time zone you are in to practice consistency, build a small community of people who want to make progress in their side splits, and hopefully makes it easier to make progress together because it's a little bit more fun, the energy is good, and you have people to do it with. Cool. All right, that's it. Goodbye. I'll see you all laters.